So let's say you have decided to move to Idaho, but here's the question: which part of Idaho? Southern Idaho or North Idaho? The Boise area or the Coeur d'Alene area? Well, I'm going to make some comparisons today, show you a little bit about both towns, and so hopefully this will be helpful to make your final decision. Stick around to the end of the video for the biggest difference between Boise and Coeur d'Alene, and that is the political difference. So let's jump right into it, shall we? What's up, guys? It's Bryan Ingham with Ingham Realty. Welcome to another episode of Enjoy Living in North Idaho, where I talk about and show you all of North Idaho. So if you're interested in this area, this is the channel for you. So please hit the subscribe button. Coeur d'Alene and Boise, or Boise as the locals call it, are about 380 miles apart. So pretty far apart, and because of that, you have totally different topographies, totally different climates. Coeur d'Alene is up in the panhandle of North Idaho, just this thin little area, and Boise, obviously in the southern part, where Idaho gets nice and fat. So you got a lot more area around there, but you also have a lot more people. Let's look at the population difference. Coeur d'Alene has a population of about 60,000 people and about 240,000 in the whole metro area, whereas Boise has a population of around 240,000 and in the metro area about 770,000. So it's about 4 times the population of Coeur d'Alene. With more population, that can bring good things to the city, but it can also bring a lot of bad things. For example, you're going to have more traffic in the Boise area, and you're going to have some other things that aren't as desirable that we'll get to in a minute. But I'm not just comparing cities here, I'm comparing areas. Let's look at the landscape. Totally different landscape in southern Idaho as North Idaho. In southern Idaho, it's a very deserty climate. Very brown, not very mountainous in the city area. There's some mountains around, but not huge mountains. I originally grew up in Southern California, which is a desert, and I grew up in the high desert, and it reminded me a lot of the desert of Southern California, to be honest. Now compare that to North Idaho, which is just very green. You got trees everywhere, and all these mountains everywhere, right all throughout the town and the surrounding towns. And you have a ton of lakes. You've got hundreds of lakes all around Coeur d'Alene. You got the big lake, Coeur d'Alene. You got Fernon Lake right there in Coeur d'Alene. You got the Spokane River running out of Coeur d'Alene, couple feeder rivers running into the Coeur d'Alene Lake. And then you got lakes all around, like Hayden Lake and just a number of other lakes all throughout North Idaho. To be fair, there are some lakes and rivers in the Boise area in southern Idaho, but you have to drive to them. They're not just right there like they are in Coeur d'Alene, and there's just not nearly as many. You also have a lot more wildlife in the Coeur d'Alene area, like deer just roaming around. The reason why Coeur d'Alene is much more beautiful than Boise is the weather. So we get about 26 inches of rain here a year, and in the Boise area it's about half that, 13. And then we get about 42 inches of snow, and Boise gets about 20. So again, about half that. So with that extra precipitation, really makes a huge difference in the landscape. Let's look at activities. Because Coeur d'Alene has more mountains, we have more ski resorts. And because we have more lakes and rivers, we have more water sports, more places to fish. And because of the more mountains, more places to hike. And because we have more wildlife, we have more hunting up here. So Outdoors, I would say everything is just better as far as outdoor activities. However, Boise, because it's a bigger city, they're going to have a lot more indoor activities that we just don't have up here.
Could you drop us off at the nearest mall?
A mall? Where y'all think we at, Boise, Idaho? Shoot.
And because Boise's a big city, they're going to have some nightlife. You could probably do some clubbing there, where Coeur d'Alene, pretty quiet in the evening. Yeah, we have bars and pool halls and all that. But if you want to go clubbing or some stuff like that, you got to go over to Spokane, which is only about a 30-minute drive from Coeur d'Alene. So it's not bad if you want a big city and experience some of that big city stuff. Let's look at amenities. Boise and Coeur d'Alene both have really good health care. So that's not an issue. Shopping, yes, we have lots of shopping here. We have Costco, we have all your needs there, but not nearly as much as the Boise area. They have a ton of Costco's there and a ton of everything else. And they have stores like Apple Store where we don't have that. However, we have that store and many others in Spokane about 30 minutes away. But Boise definitely wins with shopping. And they got more restaurants, even though we have some nice restaurants here. And they just have a lot more entertainment and all that. We have a little bit here and more in Spokane. Boise also has their own airport that you can conveniently fly in and out of. Coeur d'Alene has a private airport, but as far as public travel, you got to go over to Spokane. But again, it's only about 30-35 minutes to the airport, so not bad. A big win for Boise is going to be the job market. Because you have a way bigger city there, you're just going to have a lot more jobs available, higher paying jobs, and all that. Where Coeur d'Alene, it's less. You might have to go to Spokane and commute. I know a lot of people up here have their own businesses or are retired. But yeah, definitely if you need to make some more money working a job, you'll probably have better luck in the Boise area. I'm going to talk about some more differences between Boise and Coeur d'Alene in a minute. But first, if you guys are thinking about moving up to the North Idaho area or even the Boise area, please give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Be happy to answer any questions that you have about the areas. I have been helping people buy and sell real estate for over 20 years now, and I would love to just guide you. Okay, let's look at some real estate prices and cost of living. Well, cost of living are pretty similar both to southern Idaho and North Idaho. And as far as real estate, the median price in Coeur d'Alene is $595, and looked up Boise and it's $596. So it's around the same as of May of 2025. So costs are pretty similar. So there's going to be some other factors that should make your decision. How about crime? Well, Idaho is a pretty safe state, and even in these cities, they're pretty safe. Coeur d'Alene is low crime, 25 out of 100, which is really low. And Boise area is close to 35 out of 100, so just a little bit more crime there, but still relatively low for that size of city anyways. Now for what you've been waiting for, the political difference between the Boise area and the Coeur d'Alene area. Now, both these cities are in a very red state, Idaho, and so they're both very conservative. However, just going back 5 years or so, in the Boise area, you had one Democrat for every 2 Republicans, to now today you have 1 Democrat to every 3 Republicans. So the people moving here are making it more red, which is pretty cool. But however, in Coeur d'Alene area, around 5 years ago, you had 1 Democrat for every 5 Republicans, and now it's 1 Democrat for every 7 Republicans. So even though Idaho is a red state, Coeur d'Alene is definitely way more conservative here than the Boise area. Boise is a big city, whereas Coeur d'Alene is more of a resort town. And because of that, you just have a lot more charm to the town. Like you go downtown Coeur d'Alene, it's just this old, beautiful, well-preserved downtown. Now they're building some bigger buildings and stuff like that. It is growing, but man, it is just charming and so picturesque being right there on the lake, have these big, beautiful parks. Where Boise, it's just more city-like. I've walked around the city there, and they do have a big park downtown, which I've walked through, which is nice, and they got a tiny little river flowing through there, but it's just not the same as Coeur d'Alene, just not as charming. So hopefully some of this information has helped you determine where to go, Boise area or the Coeur d'Alene area. Now I can give you my unbiased opinion of what I think is a better area. Well, Coeur d'Alene is just so much more beautiful than the Boise area, and it's more conservative. I love that. And there's just less people. And also, to me, it's a better location, just the proximity you have to other places. You got a big city like Spokane right across the border. You're close to Canada. You can go up into there and see all that beauty. You can shoot right over to Montana and Glacier National Park. Just so many good spots right near Coeur d'Alene. The last thing I'll say is before moving anywhere, you really need to visit both of these places, and then you'll be able to know for sure where the best place is. If you guys like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. That way you'll be notified of all my new videos when they come out. I'm showcasing the whole area of North Idaho. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.